Streamer gets angry and makes horrible apology video. I'm gonna apologize to this stream. I accidentally stopped streaming instead of stop recording the previous video. And I ended up resetting my stream. Hi guys, welcome back. Hey, I'm here. It's been like 2 seconds. How are you? What's up? Let's do this, actually. I'm interested.
Right now, there's a Twitch streamer getting tomatoes thrown at him all across Twitter for a clip that's going viral of him having an embarrassing and horrible response to one of his community members answering a question that he asked them.
In Spanish, and it's chef's kiss. All right. Curvy, where the fuck have you been? Oh my God. Well, tell you what, Miss Dirty Curvy, you know what we're not going to do? We're not going to talk about it in my chat.
Wait, I'm gonna just do this. So this girl Alicia, Miss Nerdy Curvy, this girl, she tweeted this. I know that I'm also in the wrong a little for saying, well, my mom died in a stream after being asked where have I been, but the response just isn't it, fam. I made a tweet longer thingy to share a little background, but here you go.
Because it's Friday.
So he's asking, where have you been?
Oh my God. Well, tell you what, Miss Dirty Curvy, you know what we're not going to do? We're not going to talk about it in my chat. Because it's Friday. And that is a whole big bucket of bummer.
And his response is a big barrel of butt cheeks. So to give context to this situation here on the lore, this was a regular viewer of this streamer, an avid supporter who had taken a bit of a hiatus and was unfortunately going through a very...
for example, let's say... someone like Cagrel leaves the stream for a while, comes back, and I'm like, hey Cagrel, where have you been? And then he says my mom died. I'm like, we're not gonna talk about that today, let's move on and do our shit. You know, bruh, like Cagrel has been there, you know, he's a regular, of course we're gonna talk about it. I honestly think like it's different if someone, his first message ever is typing my mom died in the stream and never ever type something to that streamer. Usually these guys are lying like 100% and they just want attention, you know? But if someone from your community that you trust, then that's different. That's so much different.
Hard time with her mother passing. So when he saw that she was back, he asked her, oh, where have you been? To which she just answered honestly, her mother had passed away, so, you know, it was a bit of a tough time. That's why she was taking a break. And then for some reason, this must have input a cheat code into the streamer's brain that just sent him into, like, debate club. He, for some reason, then just goes into, like, this TED Talk about how you shouldn't answer his question if your answer is something sad, because it brings down the vibes of the stream.
I understand the vibe of the stream is important, but it's a regular viewer that you know, and you are hanging out on a daily basis, you're sharing a lot and you're there for each other. And if you give like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes of your stream for that person that has been there on your stream for so long, that's nothing. That is nothing.
It's baffling because you had asked her and she just answered
and you even asked,
question,
where have you been?
Honestly. I'll play a bit more of the clip before getting into it, but I want to make it clear early on that I understand a lot of streamers have a similar perspective where you don't really want someone in chat that's just talking about like a really traumatic experience they're going through because it's not really the place for it and the streamer's not the therapist. Like, I do get that perspective,
yeah, I understand that.
but there's a difference between like just a random person treating Twitch chat like it's their psychiatrist and you asking someone a question and them answering honestly, especially when it's a member of the community that you already kind of know to a certain level. I don't understand why you're all of a sudden getting mad at them for answering that.
And I'm sorry for your loss, but we're not doing that in my fucking chat. Thank you. Well, okay, Miss Dirty Curvy, you said, no, that's fine. You asked, so I told. No, I didn't ask you to tell me the biggest fucking bummer news in the world. I said, hey, what's up? How are you? You know what? Let me give you a little bit of a lesson, Miss Nerdy Curvy. When...
What? How is... What?
Something really, really bad is going on in your life, and in a public forum, someone asks you, hey, what's up? How are you? There are two acceptable responses. Good, and you know what? I'll make it through. That's it.
So you're trying to tell me that in a place where you feel safe on the internet, where there are people you have been sharing your life with to an extent, where you feel comfortable talking about or listening to someone's problem or stuff in their life on a daily basis, aka the streamer, you can't share anything about yourself that is not okay or not great, because that's a bummer. And excuse me, how dare you use my platform, my stream, to talk about the shit that is going on in your life? Who are you to do that? How dare you be a human?
So you want to just talk to NPCs
Yeah.
that only have 2 dialogue options?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Then why bother trying to communicate with a human being? Like, okay, give them a script. Make sure your community has the acceptable answer script to my stupid questions.
And they can
I don't
just
actually
answer
care
it.
where you've been. And, like, just tell me one of these 2 canned responses. Like, this is so fucking dumb. And I also love the audacity. Let me give you a lesson here on how to
Yeah.
handle my questions going
he's
forward.
swearing, too.
It's just so laughable that he's acting like some kind of social savant here about how to handle public conversations and what you're allowed to say. You're a fucking Twitch streamer, man. All of us as streamers are not exactly the most socially gifted. Like, let's just face the facts here.
Yeah,
So why are
that's
you
true.
trying to act like the authority on the matter here, as if you're some kind of social guru who's now giving a lecture to your community about what is and
Nothing,
is
bro.
not allowed in a public conversation? It's fucking goofy. It's very silly.
How are you? Good? Or, you know what? I'll make it through. Awesome. Love to hear it. See, there you go. Or Prom's response. I said, Prom, how are you doing? She says, I'm alive.
You know what's just as easy as those 2 responses is you being able to respond with some level of empathy, like, oh man, that's terrible, I'm sorry to hear that. Or, damn, that's awful news, stay strong. Or, man, shit, that's terrible, hopefully today's stream can lift your spirits a bit. Like,
Exactly. And then move on. That would take you like, I would say max 2 minutes for a personal message to that person. And then moving on. And then like saying, I'm sorry for your loss, but let's now try to make it a more positive vibe, and hopefully you can get some of our positivity into your life today. And then you move on. All right? Instead, he spends 10 minutes of his stream, which should be positive stream, being negative and talking about it, you know?
But you also have equally easy responses to, like, instead of dwell on the negative here and for some reason try and shame her for answering your question honestly, you could have just as easily had a very simple and empathetic response to it and moved on from it. But instead, now you're putting all of it on her and blaming her for bringing down the entire atmosphere, as if she somehow forced you to enter your goofo mode here, your insano style tantrum that you're throwing. Like, it is your fault. You could have either not asked the question if you didn't want, like, real answers, or you could have had some level of empathy and just given, like, a general, decent response, like, damn, awful news,
Yeah.
sorry to hear that, stay strong.
I agree.
And then just go about, like, a good vibe stream. Like, it's super easy.
Oh, I asked you where you were. Look, Mr. DeCurvy, I'm just subtly trying to tell you that unloading really heavy news in people's chats on Twitch is not like good etiquette. It's not the place to do it. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Heavy news like that, when someone asks, hey, where have you been? You don't need to tell them, well, my dog died, my husband
Why not?
left me for a younger
Why
woman.
not? Why can't we do that? If we're a part of a community for a while and we're sharing daily what we're eating, what we're gaming, why can't we mention these things too? If that is the most important thing for us, just to open up and share it. He's literally saying, don't reach for help, don't ask for help, because maybe that person typing that in the chat, and maybe from a streamer that they love, having like these 2 words, I am sorry, or 3 words, whatever, is enough for them to go through that day and not do something terrible to themselves. Maybe you save a life, you know?
My house burnt down and my car got stolen, so I've been a little bit busy. That's why I haven't been around. Because it's like, oh God, like, ugh.
Oh god, your bad news is making my easy job just a little stressful, because now I've heard your fucking bad news, like, ugh. Like, can you have some level of shame? Can you stop having bad things happen to you and then share it with me when I ask? Like, fuck. God, where do you get off? What a stupid perspective, bro. What are you talking about? That's not even what they did. You asked them a question and they gave a simple response to it. Now, for a little further context, she, in her first response, accidentally led with like a laughing emotion. So she led with like LMAO because she was responding to like a joke he had told, and then answered his question about her mom passing away. She got a little concerned that it was going to be misconstrued like she was joking about that. So then she clarified again that no, like it's just been a rough time. It's just been horrible. So she said it like twice or 3 times in total, but it was never to dwell on it or try and treat him like a therapist or treat chat like it was a self-help subreddit or something. She just answered his question but didn't like her first answer because she thought it might get misconstrued, so then just said like, no, it's just been bad, and that's where it was. She didn't try and like keep pressing it further or anything. For some reason he did. He took it and ran with it and made it an overwhelmingly negative thing and then shamed her publicly in front of the entire community for it, which is so fucking weird and terrible thing to do. Now, like I said in the very beginning, I do understand the perspective of not wanting your community to treat it like it's like a therapy session where they're dropping really heavy things going on in their personal lives.
I agree with that. I personally don't like bringing news, especially terrible news about around the world. For example, the war that is going on and people want to talk about it. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't talk about these things on my stream. I acknowledge them. I'm sorry it's happening, especially if it's happening to you. Okay, I can be there for you. Like, we can game together, we can watch videos together, hang out, but on a positive vibe. I'm not your therapist. I don't know how to say the right things to make you feel better, but I can be there to just waste the time, on a positive note. But yeah, that's why I always try to make it more bright and light, because everybody deals with problems. And if we make this place a place of negativity and always bringing the bad news, then it's not therapeutic enough, And all I try to do is put a smile on your face and make it a positive place.
The Twitch chat or asking,
that actually rhymed! Please clip that!
You to solve the problems for them. I do agree that that is just not the time nor the place, and that's not going to help the person either. That's not going to help them or anyone else around you that needs like professional help and someone to actually be there and qualified to give real helpful advice to that person that's struggling. And Twitch chat is the last place you'd want to go for anything real. So I do agree, like that is never a good case. Like that's never a good situation to be in. But that's not the situation this streamer was in. He had asked a community member that he knew a question, and it was a personal question. Where have you been? Now I'm waiting for your answer. And they explained, well, it's just been a bad time because her mom had passed away. And that's it. She didn't like keep going forward about it, like to try and like make it all about what she's going through. She just answered his question point blank. And for some reason he went off the rails about it. If
someone asks, like, hey, what's up? Where have you been? And it's heavy, just be like, I had a bunch of shit going on, so I've been lying low for a little while. Got it. That's it. I'm not trying to rip you a new ass.
Yeah, not trying to rip you a new ass, just trying to embarrass you in front of the entire stream. The lack of self-awareness here. Buddy, that is kind of exactly what she did, but instead of just saying, I've got some shit that I'm going through, so I was lying low, she said, well, family member passed away, so I was lying low. That's it. She didn't continue to like go through the nitty-gritty on everything that happened. She did almost exactly what you said, but was a little more specific on exactly what that shit was. But in essence, it's the same thing. Would you have still melted down if she had said, I had a lot of bad, horrible things happen, so I was laying low for a bit? I don't think so. You probably would have just given a normal, like, decent human response like, man, sorry to hear that. Hope that shit clears up soon. Why couldn't you have had that same level-headed...
I think this guy, the streamer that said that, he never had someone who is close to them die in their family or friends or in their circle. And that's why they don't have the empathy. They don't know how it feels like and what people go through. If his mom died and he had a message like that, I'm sure 100%, if he actually is a person, a human being and not a bot, then he would have different perspective on this.
Rational response to her just being a bit more specific with what that horrible thing she was going through was. She didn't just dump everything on you and expect you to like coddle her or do something special. Like, she answered answered your question. So this is where the viral clip ends, but he did have a response to this, and it's really worse than you're probably imagining. But before getting to his response, I want to hit you with a bucket of cold water to shock you with some statistics here. 93% of all Twitch streamers pull less than 5 viewers. So anything more than 5 immediately puts you in the
Oh my god! Wait. This means that the vast majority, 93.3% of streamers on the site, partnered or not, are only pulling in 5 viewers or less.
top 6.7% of the site.
I am top 6.7% of the entire site! I'm top 10% of Twitch! Woo! Let's freaking go! Top
These are old numbers
10%,
too. These are from 2021,
6%.
so I imagine this has only grown. So why am I bringing this up? Well, because the streamer who right now is catching more tomatoes than the goddamn Heinz ketchup factory is not a huge streamer.
Yeah,
At least
man.
not
How many
by
people are
most
streaming
people
on Twitch? That's
Twitter's
crazy.
definition of a big streamer. He has around 55 average viewers, and to put that in perspective, that does put him in the top 1% of Twitch, at least based on the numbers I'm
Wait. How many?
of a big streamer. He has around 55 average viewers.
Okay, my average I would say around 70, 80. All right, 70, 80 would be average, and that's I'm like being nice. All right, usually my average is 90, 100, but let's say 70, 80.
And to put that in perspective, that does put him in the top 1% of Twitch, at least based on the
Dude, I'm top 1% of Twitch, you guys.
numbers I'm seeing. Because again, the vast majority of streamers are streaming to actually 0 people. Crickets. You have better luck getting your old high school classmates to watch your Facebook live stream than you do getting found on Twitch and starting a community from nothing. So everyone that's just writing them off as a nobody and fuck small streamers, who cares what they are saying or what their opinion is, I hate that perspective, and I will always hate that perspective. The mentality around numbers is so like fucked up these days that they can't recognize how big of a number 55 average viewers is. Like, yes, it's not.
I love him for saying this. This makes me so happy to hear this, because this is so true. This is so, like, people don't understand these numbers. They're like, this is a small streamer. 50 viewers on a regular, that's 50 people watching you every single day. Hello. That's, you don't call success? That for you isn't success. Okay.
The biggest streamers on Twitch, but that's still a pretty large number when put in perspective with how big the market is and how saturated it is. But this ties into the bigger point I want to make on the back of those numbers. The market being as saturated as it is, carving out a community being as tough as it is, the last thing you want to do is fuck it up, which is exactly what this guy has just done. He's currently streaming right now with like 140 viewers, which is more than he normally averages, but I imagine the majority of this is hate watchers hoping to just shit on him in the chat. And I've already seen it from
actually, yeah, kinda, maybe. But there is no bad publicity, you know? Even negative publicity is a good publicity. And we have seen this over and over again, that even people who are being hated upon are becoming popular, you know, and famous or whatever. Yeah, they can have the chat full of trolls and haters, but these people are watching them. These people are there. Maybe they're going to even donate and give bits while hating. And that can be his base. We have seen this over and over on Twitch, you know, as well as on YouTube. People sometimes like to watch just to hate. And there are some people who don't care, like streamers or YouTubers, who will continue doing that and earn money on being hated.
a couple of his subs, some people were saying how disappointed they were in him. And that's a really big deal, because when you have a really tight-knit community, once the viewers start feeling like you don't actually give a fuck about them at all, or that you're kind of a piece of shit, they probably won't stick around, because there's so many other streamers that they'll just go to.
True.
So this will potentially end up being a huge problem for him.
I noticed that as well. I noticed there were so many like people who would be on my stream, and if I don't give them the attention they want or whatever, they will leave. Sometimes they will even hate, like, I'm gonna just leave. You don't even give me any attention or whatever, you know. And no matter how much you give, they want more and more and more and more, because they're like attention seekers. And there's a lot of these type of people, but also like normal community.
First response was this on Twitter, where he's just taking full responsibility for being an asshole, which I guess is fine. Like, he's just saying, yeah, this was a real piece of shit here. But then 12 hours later, he made an apology video and doubled down on everything from his initial Twitter clip.
Oh,
Firstly, it is well known in my channel that I do not tolerate heavy news, drama, or trauma dumping, if you will, being entered or dropped into the chat. This has been discussed and explained and made clear many times while I've been live over the last 4+ years that I've been on Twitch. The people that come to my channel often, they know this. They see it all the time. So that's something that I want to make sure everyone understands.
He directly blames her for violating his terms of service for being a chatter, basically, saying, I have very strict rules, you're not allowed to kill vibes with bad news or anything drama-related or heavy. Okay, then don't ask questions that could potentially lead to, like, someone being honest with you, man. Not everything in the world is going to be sunshine and rainbows. So why ask a question to your viewers that they might just be open about if you don't want to actually hear it? You know, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, and why are you blaming her? You're fucking blaming the victim here in this situation. What a terrible look. When you had already in your previous tweet sang a very different tune, where you're like, yeah, this one's kind of on me, I was a douchebag. What changed? All of a sudden now, you woke up this morning and you feel like you're not a douchebag, you're a superhero. In fact, she's the villain because she didn't follow your strict chat rules.
This is not the first time that she's violated the expectation that people not share heavy news in my channel. The frustration from having her argue in chat that she was, quote, just answering my question, even though she's been spoken to about this type of thing before.
Calling this an apology is a disservice to apologies. He is literally just justifying his reaction and saying it's all her fault. She violated our expectation of her in chat and then said she has a history of doing it. And in her statement, one of her twitlongers, she clarifies a bit deeper on what he's talking about. And he's pretty misleading with the way he portrays what happened here. Again, you asked her a question, she answered it. So the quote, I was just answering your question, is very accurate because that is all she was doing, man.
Frowned upon. Dude, I'm getting follows right now. From Joe JCKS. Bro Chacho, welcome to the channel, dude. Thanks for the follow. Yeah.
He even acknowledges that maybe he should edit that out and then decides not to. You should have edited that out. That's what a big yikes moment there. In your fucking apology video, in your justification, your blaming, pointing the finger video, you get a follower. Take a moment to say thanks for the follow and like just call out the follower during this. What a bad look. How could you not recognize that as a potential problem? But regardless, the actual video he has made here is not a good response. It is somehow even worse than the initial one with the doubling down and trying to justify it. Like, just have an obvious common sense level-headed response like, yep, I overreacted, this was stupid, I shouldn't have done that, I don't even know what I was thinking, I must have just been in a bad mood. Like, it was just so easy to move on from this, but instead you doubled down and now you look real silly for it. That's about it.
That's true. So, yeah. That was good. I like his input and I agree with him. I agree. That was shitty what he did and continue doing. Don't ask if you don't want to have such an answer.